10 miles east of Glasgow lies the town once known as Scotland's Iron Borough. A century ago, Coatbridge was dominated by mining, furnaces and football.
With lack of money and the poverty that went around, there wasn't much time for luxuries or entertainment. Going to the Rovers on a Saturday afternoon was seen as the highlight of the week.
Two local teams, the Rovers and Albion, merged in 1882. After World War I, the amalgamated club was readmitted to the Scottish League. In their first season they finished bottom, but incredibly reached their only Scottish Cup final.
My father was at that game, the final, but he also was at the semi-final, which ended up Rovers beating the Rangers after 2 replays, and they were beaten by Kilmarnock in the final.
Local miners topped up their wages playing for Rovers. One of them became Celtic's greatest ever manager.
Steen signed for the Rovers around 1943 from Blantyre Vicks. He was what you called a stopper centre half. He hadn't a great deal of natural ability. He inspired other players, and I think that might be due partly to the fact that about half the team were miners.
In the mid-1980s, future Middlesbrough legend Bernie Slavin became hot property here and Scotland's top scorer. But when the chairman wouldn't sell his main asset, Slavin went on strike.
I was getting a bit of publicity in the local press. A guy called Andrew Gold, who worked for the Weekly News at the time, he took a shining to me. He came to my parents' home and he says, "Look, why don't you send letters off?" And it says something like, "I'm 24 years of age, looking for a trial. I believe I could do it at your club." And a host of English clubs had replied. Chelsea replied, Arsenal replied, Huddersfield and so on. Middlesbrough didn't send a letter, they phoned me. And then I came down and played 2 reserve games, and then I signed a 3-year contract.
3 years ago, Albion Rovers reappeared on the national radar with their best Scottish Cup run in over 80 years.
We went to play Motherwell at Hamilton's pitch. I think at that time Motherwell were second in the Premiership. To be honest, it was one of the greatest days of my career. We drew Stenhousemuir at home. Fortunately enough, we managed to beat them. And then obviously the rest is history. We drew Rangers and went to Ibrox and nearly won.
McGuigan does take it. McCulloch unable to clear it, and they've only gone and scored. Harry will be under pressure here from Mosney, and the goal stands.
You did feel deep down that maybe your chance had gone, and the second game they won it fairly comfortably.
Promotion was achieved the following season. This 2017 Albion Rovers team is a vintage one.
We have won 2 playoffs, we've won a league title, we had our longest cup run for 80 years. Last season we came within touching distance of the championship playoffs. The last 5-6 years have been a great time for the club, and I hope that the fans realise that.
As Clifton Hill Stadium approaches its 100th year, little has changed here. It's not fit to host big cup ties anymore, but there would certainly be room in the trophy cabinet for the Scottish Cup.